Hello everyone, welcome to Good Morning Sri Lanka. Today is the 25th of April. It is a Wednesday and I'm Prami here bright and early to say good morning to you and welcome on the show. Now on the show today we do have a lot of things happening, but we're going to start off with an interview with a very special gentleman who has travelled a long way to be here. He has crossed the water to be in Sri Lanka. I have in studio with me Mr. B. Mukherjee. He's the Deputy Director of the Indian Chamber of Commerce here to attend a function, the three-day conference in Colombo, the India Invest Trade. Welcome to Sri Lanka. Welcome on the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, and a very good morning to all my friends in Sri Lanka.
Now, the Invest Trade, is that correct?
Absolutely.
Invest Trade Conference will be taking place from tomorrow to the 28th.
Right.
Could you tell me a little bit about the organizers and what went into this conference?
Right. See, this India Invest Trade is a program which we are organizing at BMICH Colombo from tomorrow till the 28th of April. And it is going to be a conference, an exposition, and a buyer-seller meeting, which is a B2B focused meetings between corporate sectors of both the countries, and a program which is focused on the realty construction and construction materials. The whole idea behind organizing this particular program is the fact that post-war, especially the northern and the eastern part of Sri Lanka is experiencing infra boom, and as a result of which, India being the closest neighbor, we wanted to have a program wherein we can create a platform for the companies of both the countries to interact, to discuss, deliberate, understand opportunities, wherein they can tie up, wherein there can be some kind of technology transfers, where there can be investment opportunities being discussed. So as a result of which this particular program has been organized. And this particular program has been organized in association with the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. We have the support of the Ministry of Housing and Engineering Construction, Government of Sri Lanka. It is supported by the Indian High Commission in Sri Lanka. We have two partner chambers, your National Chamber of Commerce of Sri Lanka and the Federation of the Commerce and Industry of Sri Lanka with us supporting this particular initiative. And the inauguration will be happening at 4 o'clock at the BMICH Hall A tomorrow, and we would have Honorable Mr. Basil Rajapaksa as our chief guest for this particular program. We will also have the presence of the Indian High Commissioner and your Deputy Minister for the Housing and Construction Ministry. He would also be gracing this particular program. And we have about 50 Indian companies who have traveled across the border and taking part in this huge exhibition, wherein they will try and display their products, their services. They would talk about their competencies, their advantages, and alongside we would also have 5 exhibition stalls which would be taken up by the various institutes under the ministry in Sri Lanka. And also we will have the Board of Investment of Sri Lanka participating in this particular exposition. This I'm sure would be an ideal place where even not only the private sectors of both the countries would be discussing and deliberating on this focused area of construction, but we would also have the government agencies, wherein I'm sure there are a lot of projects which are there, which the government of Sri Lanka has to offer, and as a result of which the Indian corporates who are coming, they can think of a PPP model wherein they can collaborate with the government for the development of this island country in the area of infrastructure, construction, housing, so on and so forth. And the Board of Investment has been very kind enough to be also a part of this particular program. The Board of Investment would obviously discuss, and the Indian companies would get to know about the investment opportunities, the processes in which, in case they are interested, how they can invest in Sri Lanka, collaborate with the Sri Lankan counterparts, and look at an all-round development for this particular sector in Sri Lanka. Now, 26th, we will have the inaugural session at 4 o'clock in the evening, and followed by that would be the inauguration of the exhibition, which will go on till about 8 o'clock in the evening. And 27th, we start precisely at 10 a.m. in the morning with the exhibition, and on the sidelines we will also have a technical session wherein we have technical experts on this particular sector of both countries discussing on various technical issues, which would be roughly about 1.5 hour session, and the rest of the day would be open to exhibitors. For the participants who want to have a look at the products and services that are being displayed by the Indian companies. And on the 28th again, we would start the whole program at 10 o'clock in the morning, and it would go on till about 3 o'clock, wherein we want to kind of have a valedictory session, which is basically to sum up the 3-day show, and wherein we'll have representatives from both the government of Sri Lanka as well as India to summarize the whole thing and look at future opportunities. So that is the kind of format. And when I talk about the technical session or even the other conference sessions in terms of even the valedictory one, wherein we have devised it in such a fashion that it is not a one-way talk shop. After the technical presentations are over, there will be a scope for a direct interaction between the people presenting and the audience, in terms of whenever they want some clarity, some clarifications on whatever has been presented, the speakers would be very, very glad to clarify, get into finer details, so that it only helps in better bonding between corporates of both countries.
I see. Now, there's a lot of stakeholders in a conference such as this.
Right.
The Indian Chamber of Commerce, in particular, has been has had an. I mean, you're here representing the Indian Chamber of Commerce. Could you tell me a little bit about its involvement in this conference?
Right. Before I get into the backdrop of getting involved in this kind of an initiative, I would want you to give you a brief about the Indian Chamber of Commerce, which is one of the premier chambers of commerce in India, one of the oldest, an 85-year-old organization which was formed in the year 1925 as part of the nationalist movement. And this was a time when Mahatma Gandhi wanted to have an association of the Indian entrepreneurs, and Mr. G.D. Birla in the year 1925 formed this chamber. Yes. That is how we were born. And over a period of time, what has happened is, in India, the capital shifted from Calcutta to New Delhi, and the business hub shifted to Mumbai, but we wanted to stay back in Kolkata with our head office, primarily because of the huge membership base that we have. And today we have evolved as the strongest chamber for the east and the northeastern part of the country.
Now, the Indian Chamber of Commerce is working very closely with Sri Lanka in certain things such as the construction of the north and the east. And we're going to be speaking further about this after a short commercial break.